Right, the time is here. This was some of our most exciting meetings that we had with the Tiny Door team because it was the strategy for the launch weekend itself. So this is probably, one of the most exciting parts. It was for them, and and we just wanted to make sure that the taste that was left in people's mouths as well for Tiny Door was, so yummy. Yummy as the food that the vendors had.
Yeah, we knew we had a big lead up time, but this is the moment where we just knew it was all going to come together.
So for our launch day, we really had 3 key things that we really wanted to absolutely hammer. Okay, and so it was building interest in the launch event itself, and it was about enhancing, what can we do as a marketing, as a digital agency to enhance the on-the-day experience?
Yeah.
And then also, what can we do to turn those first-time Tiny Door visitors into reoccurring and, absolute raving fans?
Yeah.
So talk me through building interest for the launch event, because it's something no one's ever done before.
No, definitely not in Christchurch. So we didn't really have, a reference point. So I guess when it came to doing our planning, doing our strategy, we were like, right, what are the problems that we could face? Where is the confusion going to come from, and what can we alleviate for our potential customers? So basically we went through step by step. Okay, well, how do you order from Tiny Door? So that was really simple. We did a few walkthrough videos about scan this, go to the website, so that people knew exactly what we meant, because it is a brand new concept. People were like, well, what do you mean you scan something? What do you mean food through a wall? The other thing we did was we wanted to make sure that when people come on launch weekend that they knew exactly where to find us and exactly how to find us. So we did a video on where they can park, best and closest ways to park, so that when people come they know how to get from A to B.
When trying to enhance the experience that someone's going to have on the day, the team at Tiny Door had these really awesome bands and musicians playing, so a few entertainment and free coffee and stuff. So obviously we can talk about that and post about it online, but they were also doing a really, really cool thing where they were, you'd spin a wheel, and whatever it landed on, whatever little food it landed on, you had to get that tattoo, which is crazy, which is so crazy. But anyway, that's also a very different concept. I'm not seeing that done very often either. But how do we get the word out about that competition?
Yes, so that was fun. So Fabian, who is one of the owners of Tiny Door, he volunteered himself as tribute. There was a bit of chat around the office about if it was going to be one of us girls, and we were like, oh no, we'll leave that to you. So we went along to Otatahi Tattoo, where they were very kindly doing the free tattoos for Tiny Door. So we went along and we wanted to build some hype with it. So we went with Fabian, went to the team at Otatahi Tattoo, and we filmed that process, and we were teasing it. We're like, do you want a free tattoo, and do you want free food for a year? So between those two, we had so much engagement with that competition, and then it was really cool to see on launch weekend all of those contestants and all those people that won the competition come and get their free tattoo. So that was really cool.
Yeah, so I think something that we've really learned from that, because that was probably one of the best performing competitions that we ran for the whole.
Did we say it's all organic? Or?
the whole of the launch, and pre-launch and everything. So I think from that, what we can really take, and I think what business owners should take, is not to be afraid to put a good prize up for grabs. Because I think the bigger it is and the more you're sort of willing to give away, the more people are willing to buy in and get and give back. And because as well, you're not going to tag someone in for a little prize. You need to make it worth someone's time and worth someone's, which is essentially their contact list. And because I don't hand out my friends' phone numbers for nothing, you've got to really pry it from my hands. You make it worth it. But you've got to be able to offer something that's actually worthy of someone.
Absolutely. I guess these days, if people are sharing it to their story, they want it to be worth their while. 100%. If somebody's getting a message in their DMs, the only reason they're going to click on it is if it's worth their time. So that's definitely something to consider.
Alright, and probably one of the most important things, I think, is how, from the launch weekend, we've got all of these we've got the amazing food, we've done all the, prep social media work, so people sort of know what to expect on the day. We've got all of these awesome, live music for the atmosphere, and we've also done all of these competitions. So, but how can we get these people to return? Because really, we want to have this launch weekend, but we want to turn the people who come and love Tiny Door into, returning
returning customers.
There
we go.
You know, so what sort of ideas? We had a really awesome brainstorm with the Tiny Door team about this, and talk us through some of the ideas in this meeting.
So Tiny Door is all about community. So as Liv said, we want to not just have these, customers come once, but return, but also engage, comment on our social media posts, and so we were like, right, what can we do? So one of the ideas we came up with was creating the Tiny Society. We really wanted, the followers and the people that came to Tiny Door to feel like they belonged to something. So the Tiny Society is, I guess, a way of grouping them together, something that they can refer back to. Who knows, it could be merch in the future, but we thought that was a really cool point to start off with. As well as that, we talked about the idea of creating a Facebook group, a place that you can post the menu. Perhaps you can give away if you first 5 people to visit Tiny Door get a 10% off voucher or a free drink, something, a hub for people to go to and keep an eye on so that they're always engaging with our social media platforms.
Yeah, because, it's one thing to get them once, but how can we, make them feel a part of the, what we, an idea was to sort of create this Tiny Society on, can these people be ripping our merch? How do we get them to open our emails when we send them? How do we get them to watch our videos the whole way through?
And want to engage with Tiny Door. I mean, you want Tiny Door to be thought of as a cool brand, and I feel like a big part of that is feeling like you belong to something like a little bit exclusive, and that's what you can really create with that sort of strategy. So far with our content, we've been showing all of the vendors one at a time, but with launch weekend it was running slightly different to how the regular scheduling was going to go. So they were going to have most of their food vendors that first couple of days for that launch weekend. So that's a lot of information, it's a lot of vendors, and we were like, right, how do we make this as simple as possible for people to understand what's going on?
Yep, so in one of our strategy meetings before the launch weekend itself, we came up with the concept of creating a poster that can be used, to be printed on social media, even on the website, that looks like a music festival lineup.
Think Coachella, those headlining acts, like that was the vision.
Yeah, because we had people coming in at different times. So all of this, and spread over 2 days, this was a way to really show visually the different people at different times that we're used to seeing that structure, and we know what it means when we see that sort of poster as well. And so we'll pop it up for you to see, because this poster looked absolutely phenomenal and was so cool to see it around.
In these strategy meetings that we have, we talk about all sorts of things, and Liv actually came up with a really good idea.
Yeah, so one, we go through so many different things because, as marketers, there's not always one way is the best way to do things. So we've got to test different things against each other. And sometimes they just don't work. But something that we've found recently that's been working really, really well is, instead of offering a discount, a 10, 20, 30% on the day, what's actually been getting a higher uptake, so more people using it, has been offering like a full dollar amount.
Because people can conceptualize then how much they're actually getting off, and it takes that $18 meal down to $15. Well, instead of 30%, what does 30% actually mean? Especially when you're trying to get people's attention like that. That's how long you've got to get people's attention. If I'm like, oh, $3 off.
And some of us can't do quick math.
No.
So that was something else that was really cool to see happen in action. That so many people took it up on the day. With the awesome cards that are getting $2 off your meal. So that was another really awesome thing that came out of our strategy meeting. For launch day for Tiny Door, tell us, what were the vibes like on the day, Sis?
Yes, we were so excited. It was the day we'd all been looking forward to. So it was on a Saturday. Liv and I went around 11:30, so just prior to that lunch rush. We'd already heard from the team at Tiny Door that they were going so well. They'd had coffee there and they had just music playing over the speakers. The vibes were awesome. We also we'd only been there a couple of days before, but we hadn't seen like the final touches. They had these cool stickers on the pavement so you could see leading up into Tiny Door. There were all of these sign posted around where you could scan the barcode to get the food, and it was just really awesome to see. While we were there, we got so much content, and we kind of jumped in for the team at Tiny Door. We chucked a few stories up, did a few live reels, so that people could really get a feel for what the vibe was like, and it was pumping. It was so much fun. We had Otatahi Tattoo setting out for the competition winners. We had a live band coming at one point. point, a DJ. It was so cool. There were free drinks going around, there were kids, there were families. The bar was open, so Buzz Club was there serving up their mead and some tiny taps, which was awesome. So yeah, we couldn't wait. It was also the first time that you could actually get food from the door. So, you know, we'd sampled a couple of things from behind the scenes looks, but it was so cool to scan that code, put your order in, get the text to say that it was ready, and sit down and actually enjoy some delicious kai. It was fantastic.
Yeah, we both got Bayoku was in at the lunch rush, so we were lucky enough to get in, and that was absolutely phenomenal. So definitely go and try with that in Tiny Door. And it was also a beautiful day.
Oh, you could have picked it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so the hype and the excitement of launch day was actually so phenomenal, and it was so awesome. And you know, a huge congratulations to the entire team behind Tiny Door and everyone else involved as well. But next time we are going to talk about what is next for Tiny Door.